I think every business owner has a story about the worst decision they ever made. For me, I have way more than one. One of my biggest was my purchase of our first vending operation that was in Burlington, Vermont. I had little experience with running my own company and didn't do enough research to even understand the process of due diligence before buying this company. None of us want to make mistakes, and we certainly don't want to make mistakes that were this big. But if we're going to make mistakes like this, we need to at least learn a few lessons along the way. I think that one of the most important lessons I learned from this experience is to do more research before you purchase a company. After I learned how bad things were after we bought the business, I felt like a total and complete real idiot. It made me doubt what I knew and I froze for several months before I realized if I didn't start doing something, taking some action, I was going to lose the entire business. One of the lessons I learned was about the process of due diligence and why you need to take a serious and time-consuming look under the hood of a business before you buy it. I also learned that not having a purchase and sales agreement with some real teeth will almost always come back and bite you in the rear end. I finally learned that any advice you get from a major activity never involves the advisor taking a hit if things go sideways. It falls on you, the business owner. In this case, the advisors that advised me through this process, they walked away with nothing. I walked away with a bill of several $100,000. Not a great outcome. I could have felt sorry for myself. That wouldn't have done anything useful. Instead, I had to take control and slowly but surely fix all the problems that came out in the first 6 months of running our new acquisition. That's why whenever I talk with someone about buying a business, I'm a bear on making sure you do the right things along the way. I know that if you don't, there's a good chance you'll experience a version of what I went through, and I can assure you that you don't want to do that. If you're thinking about doing an acquisition, here are some things I think you need to think about. First, you need to learn and know how to do due diligence. Get a checklist that's thorough and make sure you get all the questions answered on the checklist. The checklist should go on for pages and pages. It should be more thorough than you think is necessary, and you need to go through all the steps so you actually know what you're buying or what you think you're buying. I can promise you that even after going through due diligence and going through all the checklists and all the things you do, you're still going to have some surprises that you weren't aware of before you bought the business. Number two, if you decide to move forward on the sale, have your purchase and sales agreement have real teeth in it and real penalties for any fibs the selling company may have told you. And I have to tell you, all sellers lie. They're not going to tell you all the bad things about their business. They're not going to volunteer the things that are wrong. If you can't find it and it's not in your purchase and sales agreement, and the purchase and sales agreement is not written properly, you're the one that's going to be footing the bill, not the seller. Number three, have a conversation with us. We've helped hundreds of business owners look at potential acquisitions in a way that should help and not hurt your ultimate cash flow. The truth is, if you buy a business and you don't get cash flow that's accretive, the sale's been a failure. Now, eventually you're probably going to be able to fix it, and eventually you're going to probably be glad you did it, but it might take you 7, 8, 9, 10 years like it did with me. I can promise you'll never want to go through what I went through. You don't want to purchase a business for $475,000. Then have half of your business not be there in the first place, and then the other half you have to invest another $200,000 to keep it alive. I ended up paying 4 times what the business was actually worth. And at the same time, I was lucky. I managed to work my way through the problems I had. It took me 7 years, and eventually we got out of the woods. It wasn't a fun 7 years, it was a painful 7 years. And more than once, I thought the end was in sight. So here's what I'd like to do. I would love to have a conversation with you about this and about buying a business if you're interested in doing that. I'd be happy to walk through your thought process. I'd be happy to tell you my stories about what happened. And you can see that it's really important to follow best practices along the way. So email me at jpatrick@stage2planning.com so we can set a time to talk. And in the meantime, if you're not ready to talk, download our free infographic on the Stage 2 innovation process. It talks about how to learn from our mistakes. If we don't learn this skill, our business life can get very, very difficult. And after you watch the video, please scroll down and let me know what you think about learning the skills to successfully buy a business. Hey, this is Josh Patrick. You're at The Sustainable Business. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.